Okay, so I'm really sick of talking about all the things that I lost and the raid and whatever. I would like to go back to more of a spiritual storyline because that's what I think I'm being called to do. So I can share how God helped me get out of such a dark, sad place from grief, from losing my husband at such a young age, tragically, suddenly. And then I spent 2 full years alone battling a drug addiction. Had a surprise pregnancy when my husband died. I found out I was pregnant a week later. And I just kept thinking, I'm in so much trouble. Like, I'm grieving, I'm devastated. He was my high school sweetheart. And I have this baby coming, and now I have to raise a baby alone without its father. That is, I, that is still difficult. It was difficult the entire time I was pregnant. And again, I was struggling to stay clean. And I took 2 years to really isolate, where I lied and told people that I was grieving and sad and it was normal and just leave me alone and let me grieve and be sad. And I'm in a place that nobody in my life could understand. So I just stayed to myself. Of course, I really was dealing with a major drug addiction that I wanted to keep a secret, and I tried very hard to get off on my own. Every day I wanted to stop. Every day I tried to stop. Every day I could not stop. I was shrinking as a person and just really miserable. And as I describe, it was agony. So for 2 years, I was alone, really. I didn't socialize or anything. Like, I was just in the house with my kids and just trying to just get through each and every day. And then after I had a catastrophe hit me left and right and left and right. It felt like they were back to back to back. I felt the wrath of God, but I also felt his love and guidance and support. And during this time, I was learning about the guidance that I was getting because I was hearing and feeling and intuitively sensing things. Also, I was hearing things and psychic readings and everything like that about what I needed to be doing. Listening to that got me clean. Listening to that got me out of the area when my house got raided, and it saved myself and my kids from getting re-traumatized, as I discussed. And so because of that, I was full on believer that I was able to intuitively hear guidance from my spirit team and my guides, which I had to learn all about as this was happening. I'm like, I didn't understand it because, as I said, I was an atheist for my whole life. So in a span of 6 months, I had to like unlearn all my what I thought about life, relearn the spiritual side of things that I just never could understand. Got clean off a very difficult drug to get clean from. Went down and got all my teeth pulled so I can get two arches of full implants or all on four, and sold my house that it was a beloved home, and had my house raided in the middle of that, which was a shocking surprise. So, and then having to move everything, leaving so much behind in such a fast moving sale, and having to get a new place that was just void of any of the bad memories and the bad juju and the bad energy from my other home where my husband died, and I was on drugs there. He was on drugs there. We fought and battled our addiction there. I had so many painful memories of being pregnant and having breakdown after breakdown after breakdown because I was missing him and I was needing him and I was so very alone. And I'm so ready to, in my life now, I'm at peace. In my life now, I feel happy. But I keep going back because I'm telling the story and it's so sad. So I'm just so ready to discuss something else. So for 2 years, again, I was celibate. I was alone. I did not have a man around me, a man near me. I didn't, go on a date. I didn't, flirt, nothing. And I did tell myself that when he first died, I was like, I'm never going to move on ever, right? That was what I told myself at first. And then over time, I was like, I'm going to do at least 2 years fully celibate, fully alone, at least 2 years. Because I felt this sense of honor or something, sense of respect, perhaps, that I wanted to pay my husband. I didn't want to move on right away because I was lonely, because I was excruciatingly lonely. Or I was, I didn't want to just have somebody around my children. And even if it was just kind of like a late night thing or whatever without the kids involved, I still felt like I wanted to honor him. And it's not like a number like 24 months or 2 years was like something super, I don't know. It's a weird arbitrary number, but that's just what I wanted to do. I felt like I don't want to just do something out of weakness, out of loneliness. I really wanted to honor the sadness and the grief. Even with my drug addiction, even in that battle, I believed that I taking that time to be alone was the way I could pay my respects to my husband. Like, I don't know. Maybe someone else out there can understand. It sounds a little cuckoo, but maybe it doesn't. I don't know. That's just how it was for me. So shockingly, at around like really close to that 2 year mark, I had, Tony Hawk come into my life. And so I was like, wow, he had no idea. There was no way he would have ever been able to know that I wanted to take that 2 years. But because he did wait, and it was just that timing, I believe I was so open to it. I wouldn't have been open to any other man at any time before that. And so it was good timing. So I felt like I was able to move on and have a new love interest without that guilt or whatever from like because I gave myself the 2 years. So I did love that. It worked out like I wanted it to, because I wanted those 2 years so bad of full celibacy. No, you know what I mean? Like, no, nobody's going to encroach into this marital home that I had with my husband. Like, let me take this time. So it was great timing, and I felt really ready, even though, like I said, I was in a lot of pain. I was in more trouble than I really wanted to admit. I wasn't ready because I was dealing with the drug addiction, and soon after I was able to get clean. And so when Maverick reached out to me, it was after Tony Hawk and I broke up, and it was after I was already clean. And after, of course, I had given, the 2 years, it was almost 3 years at that point. So I just wanted to make that clear, because sometimes when I'm telling the story, people are just like, oh, your husband. Or I'm like, no, I think my husband was happy that I took those 2 years, because I know my husband so well. He'd be like, you better take those 2 years, bitch. He didn't call me a bitch, but you get it. So, and I just love, now I'm able to joke about things like that, because it's been over 3 years. So I can remember, like, even when he was alive and we would joke, like, if anything ever happened to me, you better, you better not move on right away or whatever. And like, I don't know. I think that my husband would be happy that I took the 2 years to be fully alone, and just remember him and think of him. And I didn't move in. I didn't have to move any of his things too early to like have another man around or like take our pictures down, which I didn't, and I wouldn't do that anyways. But